All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone had a great day yesterday and hope you're having a good morning today. So just want to do a quick mic check, make sure you guys can hear me okay. Good morning, Peter. How you doing?
Good morning, Carlos. I am fantastic. How are you feeling today?
A little bit better. Not 100%, but a little bit better.
You do sound like you got a little bit of the Barry White going on.
Yes, there you go. So good morning, everyone. Again, hope you guys had a great day yesterday. Let's get to our. I didn't have a watch list. I missed the open yesterday, but I do have some stocks. I looked at Andrew's recap and took some of the stuff he has on his watch list, some of the stuff he traded. I know Twitter was a big one because Twitter was down quite a bit yesterday. So if we look at the daily chart, we all know this thing took a huge hit after reporting some bad numbers, right? So yesterday, let's look how they traded on the 5 minute. Again, tons of volume. I remember seeing the volume on this at the end of the day was very high, something 78 million shares or something crazy like that. But at one point in the afternoon, and you can see here at the open was, again, beautiful pre-market activity, guys. Nice drop, and then it just kind of made a base here around 31.11. I did mark this towards the end of the day, 31.11. You can see that was the low of the day, and just look how beautifully this traded, right? Heads up here, does a double top, heads right back down below the VWAP. Just gave you some really good opportunities. VWAP reversal, short here after it does this double top, it gets toppy right around the high of the pre-market, so that's great. And you can see the beautiful drop towards the low of the day again. And we were talking about this quite a bit in our lifetime webinar yesterday. When you have a level that's this strong, like the low of the day was, right? It kept bouncing from here and going back up to VWAP. But it was tested too many times. At one point, the buyers got exhausted, and you can see the minute it loses this level, look at this beautiful drop all the way to the next level, down to 30.50. So again, once the buyers couldn't hold it no more, you can tell the nice drop there. So again, Twitter traded very well. I saw some great trades from you guys in the chat room and Andrew's recap. Here's eBay. eBay didn't have such a great pre-market and clean activities. Kind of choppy all over the place here. At the open, looks like you got a nice opening range breakup. What I don't like about this wick tends to be a little wild. Usually when you have that type of 5 minute opening range candle, you want to be extra cautious because again, this could be very volatile. If you look at the 1 minute, you can fine tune your entry once it comes above VWAP. It kind of does a nice bull flag forming right in here. Very nice for entry here. Stop loss slightly below the VWAP. And you can see the beautiful pop on here. You could have gotten stopped out here on this nasty wick, but again, it was a beautiful entry if you had an opening range breakup on the 5. Next, we had Tesla. Tesla also, of course, has some good news on here. Let's look at the 5 minute a little bit closer. I didn't see the price action on this one, but again, also very wild. You can see this candle pops up, and we talk about this when you have these small bodies, these candles, and you have such a huge wick. Usually, a lot of traders, what they'll do is they'll wait for it to break out from the body one way or the other, and they'll take that position. In this case, it would have been short. Once it broke out here to the body, you could take it short, and you would have this opening range on the 5 towards the bottom. Again, not a strategy that we teach or that we trade, but that's one that I've seen a lot of traders take in a situation where you have this small body of the candle. But then you do have this engulfing crack. It does head up a little higher here. It doesn't give a good continuation, and then just this drop again. So again, not a lot of opportunities here on Tesla. The 1 minute, if you were trading off the 1 minute, you can see some nice patterns forming here. But again, off the 5, you're really not getting anything on there on Tesla. MAT, guys, this one was a nice one. Also got some good volume right off the bat. But you had to be very quick on this one. If you waited for the 5 minute, you were not going to get a lot of movement. If you were doing a 1 minute or a 2 minute, if you're trading off the 1 minute, you can see here nice ABDC pattern forming, a beautiful pop, and then it just gets choppy in this area. Eventually, if you were patient, wait about 10:30 or so, you got another opportunity to take it. You know, if you were in at a good entry, or if you were waiting to get another entry, you could have got a nice opportunity here towards the top, breaks the high of the day, and it heads higher. So again, this was clean, but it took a while to get going once it was building this kind of base here. And here again, you have an ABCD pattern, which we're talking a lot in our webinar yesterday. You do have an ABCD pattern here. Look at this consolidation period. Sometimes this consolidation period can take, 30 minutes. That does happen. But again, you got a beautiful pattern here forming, and then you can see the breakout here once the volume starts coming in down in this area. All right, guys, so that is all I really had for yesterday. Let's go. Go ahead, Peter.
I was going to say, one to check out. I didn't actually manage to trade it yesterday, but CMCSA Comcast, not normally a good mover, but if you want to see a good trending trade, here's one you could have entered right after the and just ridden it all day.
Yep, absolutely. This one was, oh man, that's a beautiful opening range breakdown here on the 5. You don't get a big pullback there, but man, that is sweet. So hopefully you guys took advantage of that trade as well. By the way, Norm is traveling today. He's going to San Diego. Peter's going to do the announcements later on. We do have San Diego meetup. You still can join, still have time. It is, I believe, tomorrow, Saturday. So Norm is traveling, heading down there, meeting with Andrew and some of the cast, some of the other members. So Peter will be covering for him today. All right, guys, let's go over to our gappers list. Well, first of all, before we do that, Peter, do you have any news on the SPY or anything that's going on today? I know it's a Friday. Usually not a lot of news gets released on Friday, but anything exciting that we can look forward to?
Yeah, I don't really have much today. I'm expecting it to be a fairly quiet day. Like you said, it is Friday, and we know on Fridays that the volume tends to be down a little bit. The only real announcement is the Consumer Sentiment Index coming out at 10 o'clock, but that doesn't usually have an impact on the market. So I just sort of have my fingers crossed. We do not have any announcements out of the White House, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yep. All right. Excellent. All right. So again, I'm looking at the SPY pretty flat right now, not doing much. Let's go over to INTC. So this one, it is gapping up 3% this morning, 3.1. Some good volume, 360,000 shares traded so far. So that's good activity there. I like the daily chart. We're kind of getting over some of these levels here. So this looks good. Peter, any news on this one today? Looks like earnings yesterday or this morning, maybe.
Yeah, Intel was absolutely earnings last night after the close, and you can sort of see a pop after the close yesterday. They beat their estimates, but that is par for the course for Intel. So I think they're on their, I don't know what it is, like their 100th quarter of consistent numbers beats. So it's par for the course for Intel. So remember, if you're looking at Intel, guys, of all the chip stocks, it tends to, like, it doesn't move a lot. So I'm not sure what to expect today, quite frankly, because normally after sort of a pre-market pop, when I've been watching it in the past, it sort of goes flat. So we'll see. But there's been a fair amount of news across the semiconductor sector, so we'll see what happens.
All right, excellent. So yes, this will be exciting today. Again, got some great volume here. We'll see what we can get out of that. We do have some nice daily charts. Well, we're getting over some recent areas of resistance. Looks like right on here, especially these two. And then we'll go back. We'll get into that once we start doing our levels. Let's remove some of this stuff here. Make room for INTC. Next, we have Amazon. Amazon is down 6.2 this morning. Some decent volume, 178. Now this stock here is obviously $1,600. I usually don't trade it. Again, it's very, very expensive, but they're down huge, man. What's going on with Amazon today?
It dropped $100 right after the close yesterday. It was pretty crazy. But it's only 6% on the stock. But when you see something dropping, $10 at a time, it's I find it startling, no matter what the price of the stock is. But yeah, Amazon's surprised. It surprised yesterday by missing their estimates. So it's the first time, I think, ever that they've posted a decline in their profits. And that spooked people a little bit. So it may move today. I would say, like you said, though, Carlos, it's a little hard to trade. I mean, you'd have to manage your size literally down to, a couple of shares, or because the spread on this is usually $1 or $2, and then your moves are going to be measured in the $10 and $20. So you may, in sympathy, want to play some of the stocks in the same family, if you will, right? So instead of looking at Amazon, you could look at eBay. You could even look at Baba, which is the Chinese equivalent, so to speak. Even Facebook tends to move when Amazon is on the play. So we'll see what happens today. It is also relatively low volume usually. So if you're watching it, just be aware of that.
Yep. So we'll keep that on here, guys. Again, very active this morning, as we can see. Next, we have Bud down here is down 8.5 this morning, 224,000 shares traded. You can see it got a nice big drop here. This is a foreign stock, I believe now, right? Because we do have some gappers on here. The daily chart can tell it's very choppy, very gappy. But today they seem to have some news as well. What's going on with Bud this morning?
Yeah, America's Beer is now a foreign company. Has been for a couple of years. But earnings again. In this case, they had a drop in their Q3 profits. So this is the market reacting to it. I have watched Bud as well in the past, and it trades like a foreign stock. And you've heard Carlos and us guys in the room here say it several times. They just are harder to trade because when you get dual listed stocks on the foreign side, they don't move at all, or they don't move in a way that you can easily sort of get trend trading on it.
Yeah, it's so funny because before I started trading, I thought this was an American company, and I'm sure it's a lot of people out there think the same, right? Because if you look at any Bud commercials, flags, and American horses all over the place, right? So it's just funny how when you get into the stock market, you start realizing that some of these companies are not really even U.S. companies. So yeah, so this one's very, very active today, guys. 226,000 shares traded, down quite a bit. Pre-market activity is looking okay, not all that great. Again, it is a foreign company, but it's got some news today. It's got a nice drop. So we'll see if we can still get something out of it this morning. But you can tell by the daily chart, guys, you can tell the gaps, right? These are not normal candles that we see in a regular stock that trades well in the intraday on a regular basis. So we'll see what we can get out of that today. Next, we have PCG. Man, this thing it's just wanting to hit zero eventually. This thing is down 27%. Closed yesterday at seven bucks. Today is down at 5.25 and just continues dropping. It's going to be very hard to get shares for short on this one. It is on short selling restrictions. My broker doesn't have shares for short. 3.8 million shares traded so far. Peter, what don't we know about this stock already? What's causing this drop today?
Yeah, it's nothing new. It's more of the same. So they had a couple of electrical towers that collapsed in the fires, and some fires in California. But on the other hand, they have restored power to a number of homes where they're not in imminent threat of fire at the moment. So they turned the power back on. So it's just sort of bouncing back and forth on the news. This I thought was going to be in play yesterday. I actually traded PCG yesterday, and I entered it somewhere like 940. And sat in a 5-cent range for like 45 minutes, expecting it to go short because it was hanging out below VWAP after a big candle on the open, and then it popped up on me. So I'll just, it's just a warning to say, PCG, I can never figure it out. Like every time you think it's going to drop, then it pulls back and gets some support. Like Carlos, you're right. This thing you think would be going to zero, but somehow it always seems to bounce back when you least expect it to. So be cautious on that.
Yep. And again, we have been down to $5 before, right? If we go back over here, look at the early this year, we were exactly probably around 5.25, right? You can see that right on there. So, and look, I came back up all the way up to 20. So we're down here again, guys. Who knows what can happen here? Just be cautious trading this stock today. The good thing is that it doesn't move crazy, right? Though it's a $5 stock, you can manage your risk. The spread is usually pretty tight on this. So again, it's all about can you get filled if you're going to take this short, and just be cautious with the moves. We have another one coming up here in our gappers list, ARCE. So ARCE is down 3.1 this morning. Not the greatest daily chart. We do see some chop around here, but overall, not too bad. Not too bad. 109,000 shares traded so far. So it's getting some volume now, starting to pick up. So either some news or something's coming out now, because prior to this, if you look at 8 o'clock, there's nothing going on. It's pretty light and it's pretty much flat, right? Previous day closes here, dropped a little bit, but right now we're getting some activity happening here. Peter, anything that's coming out? Are they reporting earnings, or they're on a call or something? What's happening with this one today?
So this is a Brazilian company, so it's a foreign stock. Keep that in mind. The only news I see is that last night they did announce that they're having basically a secondary offering. So that tends to be diluted to a stock. And as you can see, it's down by a couple of percent today. So I've never watched this stock. I have no idea what to expect from it. But being a Brazilian company, I put it on a secondary list for sure.
Yeah, definitely a secondary list. You can tell it's somewhat trying to build a great pre-market activity. This is looking pretty neat here so far. Again, we don't have much information to go off, so we'll see how that continues to develop. But just going back towards the daily chart, you can see, just look at this area here, how nasty this is. And what we mean nasty, look at how small the bodies of each candle is, and look how big the wicks are. Usually that doesn't give us a good impression of a good intraday trading. Now from here to here, this is great trading. This is really good. You see the nice little flow we have going on here. This is amazing. But then from here, it's just pure crap. So we'll see how this turns out. Again, just looking at the 5 alone right now, this looks like it's putting in a nice pre-market activity. We got a good spread so far for a pre-market action. So we'll see if this Brazilian stock can surprise us today. But again, it will be definitely on our secondary list if we find stuff that's better, that is not foreign. All right, let's go over to NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers, OPK, usually one that doesn't trade very well, guys. Always on this list here, very active. But again, just not going to watch that one. RBZ, we have traded before in the past. Today, there looks like they're gapping up 9.1, giving a lot of it back. Went as high as 190, but now we're back down to 144. So again, just not looking pretty clean this morning. Pre-market activity looks amazing from here to here. We do have tons of volume, 781. So I will put it on here just in case we can find some kind of base here. But right now, selling off pretty bad. What is the flow on RBZ? 1.8. Yeah, this is a real low flow stock. Let's throw it down here. RBZ, only 1.8 million shares float, so we'll be extra cautious with that one. Next, we have TXMD. TXMD at the moment has volume, 521,000 shares traded, but I'm not seeing any pre-market activity that looks great for that type of volume, so I'm going to skip that one. INTC, guys, this one here is we have on our list, looking great. Excuse me. AMD at the moment, guys, it's got some more volume than usual. Daily looks like it's trying to get going here, so we do have a little drop down, a couple of green days here. If we can get above this resistance, could be nice for a long, guys. You can see that area has been a tough place to get through on AMD. You could tell right on he's been having a tough time for a couple of days, and we know how choppy this has been even in the intraday. But if we can get above that resistance, this can be a good possibility for a long. So let's throw AMD on here. I do like the volume so far. It's more than what we've seen lately at 371. It's not great. Usually great volume for AMD, 700 plus in the pre-market, but it's early. Let's see what it develops. Volatility index, guys, pretty much flat at the moment. ACRS, not doing much, not great. OPTT, another one that's not great to watch. Amazon, we have BNGO was a low flow that was very active a couple of days ago. Right now, pretty much flat, not doing much. ACRS, guys, this one we just looked at, not great. RBZ, we have CGIS. This one is crappy. Nothing going on there. OPTT, we looked at. USLV. Excuse me, guys. USLV. This one is no volume. 17,000 shares traded. Not really much going on there. Also, it looks very, very nasty on the daily candle, on the daily chart. XNet, wow. I remember we used to trade XNet quite a bit. They're 161,000 so far, up 7.8. But again, once it lost some of the once it came down below $5, it really has not been great to trade, right? It has not been really giving us any opportunities. Pre-market activity is horrible right now, but man, we used to trade this a lot. This was one of our good buddies. If you guys have been with us for some time, we used to trade that one almost daily. SPSC, guys, not doing much, no volume. NVTR, this one is 4,000 shares, no volume. CHTR, also not doing anything, no volume. And last one, DXYN, also not much going on. Peter, what do you like this morning so far? And while you do that, I'm going to go grab a glass of water.
Sure. So I don't have a lot. I mean, I have nothing else from this morning on the list. Guys, I think from yesterday, there might be a couple of continuation plays. I'm going to keep an eye on Twitter. It actually moved surprisingly well yesterday because it's not something I normally like to watch. PayPal is another one I might keep an eye on because it had some activity yesterday, and Tesla. So those are the three that from yesterday that I'm going to keep on my list. Comcast, I mentioned, it was a great trend yesterday. It doesn't mean I expect anything from it today. So I think I'll stick with those first three that I mentioned. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we've got the scanners up in the room all day, so that'll give us an idea if something new moves. And as Carlos usually says on a Friday, guys, it is a Friday. Take it easy. Don't rush into any trades. If we don't get anything that moves immediately on the open, then you know what? There's lots of opportunity throughout the morning. So we'll just keep our eyes peeled on the markets.
Yep, absolutely, guys. All right, what do you guys like this morning that we don't have on here already? What do you guys have on your list that looks good?
On YouTube, somebody mentioned VFC. I haven't looked at it yet, but I don't see any volume on it. Just pulling it up here.
VFC. Let's take a look at that. It's nice drop, 4.8. Looks like it was even lower, heading down here to 78. Looks like at one point. Volume is at 92, so not great. It's trying to get going. We can put it here down as a possible for now. We'll come back to it later.
Yeah, they did have earnings, so it looks like they missed their estimates and provided some week forward guidance. So, it may be. I don't think I've ever traded VFC. I'm not sure if you guys have any experience with it, but from what I'm seeing here so far, it's not looking great for its movement.
Yep, I agree. Pre-market activity is not looking all that great neither. And again, I don't think we ever looked at this one before in the past. Nvidia is moving a little bit. Let's check. Nvidia continues to kind of just consolidate, right? It had a hard time, not a hard time. It tested this 3 times here, broke out of it. Now we have a new area of consolidation happening right around here. Again, could be interesting for a possible breakout as well. Volume is pretty light at the moment. Pre-market activity is not showing us anything too great. But yeah, it could be a good for secondary and watch later in the mid-morning, see if we can get some momentum going and get a great trend trade out of this level of resistance we have here. ILMN, let's take a look at that. Yeah, so volume is very, very light. Even if it did have some volume, right now this daily chart also doesn't look all that great neither. Just look at how some of these candles are forming. You could tell that just doesn't look as great. Also, it's got a lot of chop in this area here. So again, not great at the moment. It is dropping down. And I see what you're looking at. This 4.2 looks exciting, right? You have this nice little drop. It's dropping here. Looks like it might want to lose some of these levels that it might have here of support and resistance. Head down maybe to 295. But right now, the activity here is not great. The volume is just too low at the moment.
In the room, somebody's mentioning Visa, Carlos.
Visa.
V. It can be a tough mover when it has specific news and momentum. It can be a decent play, but it's specific circumstances. So today they had earnings sort of last night, beat their estimates, and they provided a positive forward guidance. So that's usually good for stock to give a little bit of a push up. But I might. Right now, it doesn't look hot, but
Yeah.
who knows? It is one of those nicey stocks that tends to move only after the open, so I might keep an eye on it.
Yeah, good point. Only $34 right now. Not a great pre-market activity. So whatever earnings they have, even if they have positive news, it hasn't made a lot of movement yet. And these type of stocks are they remind me a little bit of banking stocks like Bank of America. Just look how choppy the daily is. Right, every other candle is kind of engulfing the previous ones. Got some gaps in between. There's no pattern here on the daily. Right, there's just nothing going on that you can say, okay, we're on a trend trade. There's no way to see anything forming here. Which usually the stocks that trade very well on the daily chart, they tend to have a bit of a pattern, right? Some kind of flow to it. This one you can tell here, it just doesn't look great in any direction. VZ, what do we have on VC? Let's take a look at that. VC at the moment. Now this one does have a nice pop over here. Looks like it might want to get going above some of these levels. We have traded it before in the past, probably when it was in play. This morning it's got some activities. It will be hitting our scanners if it can get above 2% and over 100,000. But again, at the moment, guys, it seems pretty quiet right now for Verizon. Let's look at ARCE. Oh, we have that one already. ARC is right on here, down 2%. So we're watching this one. We'll see what it develops. Again, this is the foreign stock we're talking about. It started to put in a better pre-market activity. We'll see how it trades when we get closer to 9:30. All right, let's take a look at MU. MU for a possible continuation today. Yeah, I agree. MU's daily's gotten a lot better. You can see here the nice flow to it. It broke out, had a great day yesterday. Nice green day, breaking out of this resistance. If it can hold here and possibly close this gap, that could be nice. Again, kind of falling back towards the previous day close at the moment. MU is going to get the volume at the open. Doesn't have great volume right now, but this could be a good continuation for a possible pop over to 48.50, 49 if it can get going. We'll have to see how that opens up. All right, guys, so that is what we have so far. One more, YNDX. Oh, we got a few on here. On YouTube, YNDX. YNDX is pretty much a flat right now, guys. It's got some volume, 94,000 shares traded, but this one has not been easy to trade. It was great here when we had this drop and when we had this pop. But then if you look at some of the daily candles and you look at the intraday play, it has been very choppy. So today, again, look at this pre-market activity already. It's looking pretty much flat right now. The daily chart's not looking all that great. So it's going to be tough to trade this one. It's getting some volume, but again, I just don't know how great it's going to trade. And if you look at some of the days on this stock, it doesn't trade very well. The intraday is not clean. Next we have ATVI. Let's take a look at ATVI. Oh, ATVI looks interesting. Doesn't have the volume, but I see that it's up a bit here, 2%, and it is trying to break out of some previous areas of resistance, so that is good. I don't think this is at all-time high. No, it's not. But you also have, if you look back in November, you have a gap here, nice gap here. So this could be a good secondary, guys. The volume is not there yet for me to watch it right at the open, but this could be a good secondary for a possible a trade if it can get going towards the upside. Towards the bottom, I don't see much because it got a lot of support down there at 55. So again, a good play here will be if it can break out towards the top and get some movements going on there. VTR, guys, no volume, only 600 shares traded. It is down 2%. The daily chart here, you can see the beautiful drop, but again, just no activity happening at the moment. All right, guys, let's go over to announcements. Let's bring this up, and then we'll come back and do some levels of support and resistance on here. Peter, can you take it away?
You bet. All right, guys, welcome to a Friday. It's the end of a week. Feels like it's been a long week for me, but hopefully you've had a good one. But the week is not over. We have things going on. So let's start with the Benzinga FinTech Awards. Last I checked, and I'm going to check right now as I'm talking because I then cast today's vote. We've been nominated for the best financial literacy tool, and I think they have kept the voting open. So I just cast my own vote. If you guys have the opportunity to go and vote for us, if you think we deserve it, we would love to get your vote. That would be a great honor to be able to take home that award. So we appreciate that. And then meetups. It's always a good opportunity to meet people in person. So as we mentioned, we've got a couple of our members, our moderators here traveling, including Andrew and Norm, who are traveling down to San Diego for a conference this weekend, as well as the San Diego meetup, which is happening tomorrow after the Trade Ideas Conference. So we all love San Diego. That should be a great meetup if you're in or anywhere near the San Diego area. We'd love to host you there. Andrew will buy you drinks. Just tell him I said so. Even make them buy you some appetizers. But the best thing about it is the conversation and the camaraderie. So it's always a good event. So hopefully you can meet us there. Coming up next month, Clearwater Beach. It's happening the 16th of November. So the meetups continue. And we'll be putting together a few more later on. In fact, I'll be having one up here in Canada, probably in the new year. We'll do a nice winter meetup in Ottawa. So if you happen to be in anywhere near the nation's capital in Canada, look for that in our forums. All right. So going on is the DAS #1 Best Trader competition. I guess it's complete now. And we're very proud to have the first place trader with us here in the room at BBT. So that was great because it just demonstrates that our traders are taking the information we're providing and applying it to their own trading, which is fantastic to see. Frankly, that's the best reward we can get as moderators, to know that we're helping others achieve their goals and just get better in their practice of trading. So that's fantastic. And if you ever consider joining us, we love having new members in the room. It's fantastic. The more that we have here, the more eyes we've got on the market, and we can help each other. So if you wanted to consider joining with a lifetime membership, you can currently use our discount code RECESSION to get a 30% off our lifetime membership, or you could just join on a trial. Like what you hear, you want to give it a test, you can join us for a 1-week trial using the code PREMARKET24. That just gives you a 1-week trial. After that, it doesn't renew. You can make a decision on your own as to whether you want to join permanently, and we certainly hope you would. All right, so that's it for. Oh, sorry, I have one more announcement I want to make, guys. Next week, we continue with our training sessions, and we do have a training session happening on Tuesday evening. So next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern in our classroom, we're going to have a special session with with Kurt about trend trading. So Kurt's going to be teaching trend trading in the classroom, and that's good because we often talk about the momentum trading in the morning, but we provide strategies that you can use in trend trading. And and for those of you that have been in the room with me, especially in the afternoons, we talk about that because now that we're into the fall session, you see many more stocks that can trend throughout the day, whereas over the summer things tend to be a lot choppier, and that goes by season. So this is a great opportunity to sort of refamiliarize yourself with trend trading, or see it for the first time if you've never sort of thought about how you can trend an intraday trend. Kurt is going to be leading a session on that, and should be a good one not to miss. So it's here in the classroom. If nothing else, that's a good reason to sign up for maybe a trial membership to see how it goes, and you can attend to that in our classroom. All right. So that's it for announcements. While I've been talking, the markets are starting to move a little bit. I'm seeing some things bounce. I was just watching Twitter that just leapt up by a buck for I don't know why, but
Oh, nice.
good.
Yes.
There's life out there anyway.
Yeah, let's throw Twitter right on here, see what we can get out of that. Maybe some kind of continuation play. Again, look at the volume yesterday, 106 million shares traded. So incredible volume there. All right, guys, so let's get to it. Let's fine tune this list. Let's find some levels of support and resistance. Let's start over with INTC. So again, INTC, guys, this thing has some good news. It's up 3%. I know it's giving some back right now, but keep in mind we do have a support right over here around 53.30.33. We do have a low of the day at 53.65, so we'll mark that down. Keep in mind, I was going to mention that, again, some people are probably taking profits, right? Anybody sitting down here at 50 that took in for a swing trade, whatever the case may be, might be taking profits. So be careful, be cautious with that, and know that if these people take profit and the stock is really strong with some good news, it can still head higher. So just be aware. Be aware of what the situation is. 54.61 is our high of our pre-market. Above that, we have a nice gap here. All the way up to 57, I guess. A nice little gap there, all the way up to 57.35, so we'll mark that down. But between this gap, guys, 54.61 and 57.35, that's a long way to go. So, I'm going to want to find some kind of level that we can use as support and resistance. In this case, resistance, because we are towards the bottom of that. 55.90, and makes sense. Around that 56 level, you can see that it's a good midway point. You also have an area of resistance and support around that area. So I'm going to mark down 55.90. You can mark down 56. Again, it's an area. If we start heading above that 54.61, which is our pre-market high, that could be the next area of possible resistance. And towards the bottom, guys, if we lose the 53.65, we have this one here, 53.33, which is going back an area that we tested almost twice already, and we're not able to break out of before in the past. So here, whoops, that's too big. We have it here and also here. Again, just couldn't break above that. Today we got some good news and obviously was able to get above that level. So that's good. So that's INTC, guys. Pre-market activity is looking great. Good volume, 614, up 3%. So this will be a good one to trade today, or at least watch for a possible opportunity. Amazon, guys, is very active, down 5.7. Some decent volume. I'm not going to watch this one, guys, but you do have an area down here at 1662, and you have one here at 1687, highs and lows of the pre-market. 1687 was a prior area of support right on here. If you can get above that, you have another area that will support around 1707. Okay. Then prior what I like about this low here, 1662, you did test this back in June. You had a nice, beautiful bounce. So be aware of that. If you lose that, and the next area could be all the way down here, 1625. So you got some levels on this, some very clean levels, because Amazon's daily chart is very nice. Again, it doesn't move much based on the type of stock that is, based on the price, but it did drop $100 today. So just be aware of that it, you need to watch your size. Also, is a very expensive stock. So I'm going to remove it from my list. Let's head on over to Bud. So Bud right now pretty much kind of flat at the moment, not giving you anything great, but it is a foreign stock. It does have some volume. It does have some negative news based on earnings, so it's down 8% this morning. 275, high of our pre-market 85, 87.25, low 82.54. So we'll mark those down. The next area of support or resistance that I see here is going to be 89.90. So if we can break out, head towards the top, that could be an area that we can possibly head to. And then since this is not a since it's a foreign stock, if you look at the daily, guys, it's not clean. You can see it's on here. There's not a clean daily. You can see how small the candles are on the body. So you don't get a lot of this here. Nice bodies on the candles that can give you a nice area of support and resistance. So we do have our highs and lows. Towards the bottom, 82.63. I'm going to mark down 80.22. That can also be an area you can see this day bouncing from here and changing direction. That could be a good one as well to have. Again, not one of my favorite ones this morning, but we do have some good activity, some good volume at least. Activity so-so, could be decent. So we'll see how it gets close to the open, how this trades. But again, not one of the favorite ones this morning. PCG, look, we have a bounce here on PCG. Low of the pre-market sitting at 488. I believe this could be the all-time low now. I'm not sure. Towards the top, guys, last time we were in this area was back in, I think back at the beginning of the year we mentioned earlier, right? So right here in the February. So yeah, this is actually we went lower today. We went down to 488. Last time we went down a little bit less than that, 527. So above that, guys, you can see a level of support right on here. 628. 628 is a good level to have on there. And then above that, you have your previous day close and highs and lows from the last 2 trading days right on here. So that's PCG, guys. Again, a nice drop in this pre-market, kind of putting in a bounce here above the VWAP and over to that $6 mark. So we'll see what that does at the open. Again, some good activity and some really, really good volume, guys. 5.2 million shares traded so far. Here on ARCE, this one it's a foreign stock, guys, a Brazilian stock. Again, you could tell by the daily chart, it just looks a little funky here. It doesn't have a nice, great flow to it. Pre-market activity's got some volume, 200, but it's just, again, not doing anything great. So I'm not sure about this one. We're stuck between some levels right now, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. We're right in the midpoint of that area. The price is literally sitting at a level, so I'm going to mark it down right over here at 43.70. You can see the support right on here, resistance again, and then support. Also on the few days, it's been consolidating pretty nasty. Not a clean daily chart here. You can see how several days are opening and closing around that area as well, that 43.70. Pre-market is also kind of respecting this level now, so we can see what it kind of does. If it can get the volume in here, this could be a good pre-market activity. So it's starting to do that, but the volume seems to have been dying down a little bit. So as we get closer to 9:30, let's see if this gets better. But right now, also not one of my favorites. AMD, guys, I like AMD for a possible long if it can get going above the high of the day at 32.21. That's been resistance for AMD for a couple of days going back into that August time frame. Above that, we do have this 33 area, and then we also have this 34.20 all the way up here. So towards the long, it looks good, guys, because we do have some space up here we can run if we can get above that. Pre-market activity is not looking all that clean, but we are getting some volume, 414 and 13,000 shares traded right now. Twitter had a great day yesterday, not for them, but for us. Again, just traded very nice, gave us some good opportunities. Previous day closed towards the bottom right now. Low of yesterday also towards the bottom. Towards the top, you have your high of your pre-market sitting at 31.11. Actually, no, 30. I'm bringing that down. 31.07. That's our high of our pre-market at the moment. And again, we haven't been down here in quite some time. So let's go back. Let's see if we can find. Yeah. So 32 seems to be the best level towards the top, guys. If we can get going above this 31.07, we do have some areas over here around 34. Again, the gap that Twitter has right now is huge. I don't think we're going to get up there in anytime soon. It's going to take some time. That's a lot to cover to try to close this gap. So again, right now it's got some good activity, guys. Already 545,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market activity is looking very active, so I definitely want to watch this one. It can go either way, guys. We can get a bounce here from the low of yesterday, previous day close, or we can head lower. But again, this thing is pretty beat up. So already, so I don't think we're gonna head any lower. If you ask me for my bias, I think this thing might be trying to put in a bounce or just chop around and consolidate. CMCS right now, not much activity. I know Peter will be watching this over a possible continuation. Look at the drop yesterday, gapped up and just headed right back down below the area that it was trading in. So this could be interesting as well for a secondary, but I'm going to remove this one as of right now. BCF, guys, this one, it's got some activity, 128, but the pre-market, look at the pre-market, it's just not good. We got very flat, very choppy, so I'm going to remove this one as of right now. Nvidia, I do like Nvidia's daily chart. The pre-market is not all that great. It starts to get some volume. It is up 1.5. Also another one, kind of like AMD, if it can get going towards the upside, it can be nice. High of our pre-market at 207. I'm sorry, 270 cents. Here we have 202.47 is the recent high on Nvidia. Again, if you can see, this daily chart has been kind of wedging a little bit here, trying to get higher. So if it can break out of this high and that 202.47, we do have some room to go up. Towards the bottom, guys, previous day close, highs and low from the last 2 trading days. You do not need to add anything more towards the bottom, and really I think the play here is towards the top, guys. We want to see this squeeze some people here or get higher. This would be a nice play for Nvidia. RBZ is the low flow that's active today. I don't see any other low flow that looks great. This one right now, 901,000 shares traded, is up 8%, but it's giving it a lot back. Went as high as 190 so far, but again, it's given everything back, kind of heading toward that range that it was trading in. We have traded this one in the past. This one actually, when it gets the volume, it tends to actually pop, right? A lot of stocks, when they get the volume, just kind of gap up and sell back down. This one does have some opportunities where we've been able to trade it pretty well in the past. Again, it is a low flow, so you have to be extra cautious, guys. We have a high of a pre-market at 190. Towards the bottom, price action sitting right at a level at 144. Above that, you have another area right here around 170. This has ran up as much as in the recent times, all the way to right here to 275. But again, it's got to get the volume right now. Volume is coming in, but again, it's just kind of selling off, not really showing any signs of strength at the moment. And when we say signs of strength, we spoke about this a lot in our lifetime webinar yesterday. Again, right now it's just looking very weak. If you look at the bodies on the red candles, they tend to be very large, bigger than the other ones, also with some volume. All right, so that right there shows signs of weakness, at least right now in the pre-market. All right, guys, so that is what we have so far. We got a little bit of time. We got about 4 minutes. Let's see what else you guys have. Anything else that looks great that we can look at? PCG's all-time low. Thank you, QMR. Yep. Yeah, PCG's is taking, I mean, this thing, it's getting 4,084 cents. This thing was trading back at 54 bucks right before the news broke out with the fire. So 54 bucks. I hope nobody, you guys are great traders. I know you guys are not holding anything from over here because you guys don't swing trade or hold this stuff. So again, it's just crazy. What else we have here? Roku. Let's look at Roku. Okay, Roku's starting to get some volume here. 670,000 shares traded. Looks like it's around 850 or so. We got some activity happening here. Yeah, we could possibly look at Roku for some action today. It's kind of consolidating, right? Did a nice little bounce and kind of came up here. Did some nice little ABCD patterns. Finally, somewhat hit this level of resistance here. Was able to break out of it a little bit, but right back down. It's just consolidating now. It can really go either way, guys. I mean, this stock has been, this bounce back was really strong. If you look at the way this thing dropped, you know, this not recovery because it hasn't recovered yet, but this bounce was probably pretty aggressive. We didn't expect that to happen so fast on Roku, going from $100, 98 all the way to 140. So we'll see what we can get out of Roku today. It's a good possible. Again, it's stuck within a lot of areas of support and resistance, so not sure how much we're going to get out of it today. And also Roku, you got to be careful. The price action tends to be a little wild. It has a high ATR, so be aware of that. You know, you have to give this stock a lot of room to move. If you take a position, be aware of your stop and give it some room to be able to wiggle a little bit. ATVI again is up, guys. Today is up 1.7. Only 38,000 shares traded. So I'm not seeing a great pre-market activity on ATVI. Could be a good possible. Right now, I'm not seeing anything great. Pre-market action is looking pretty light. AMZN's going up. Yeah, I mean, this stock, it has had a bad earnings, but again, this is a strong stock, right? I'll be cautious trying to short this. A lot of long-term investors could be looking at this and say, hey, this is a good buy, you know, to get back up to the 1800s, right? So just be cautious with it. Again, it is a higher price stock, and the spread could be a dollar or two sometimes in this kind of stock. Again, the stock that's a great spread, guys, for a stock that's trading at 1650, 1680, right? $2 is an amazing spread. So, but just be aware that if you're taking a position in this, be aware of the type of spread and what your P&L, unrealized P&L is going to look like if you jump in there. All right, guys, that is what we have. So right now, just kind of recap a little bit, Peter, unless I missed anything.
No, I was just I was taking a look at ATVI. You're right. Like it doesn't look great right now, but just checking the news, I realized that they've got a launch today of a game. The Call of Duty Modern Warfare reboot apparently is launching today. There might be some midday news if you know they start to get like announcement of some record sales or lineups at stores or something like that. I haven't sort of heard anything about that, but I have to admit I haven't really been following it. So we'll see. I mean, I'll keep it in mind on a secondary maybe to see what happens with it.
All right, excellent. Got one more here. APOP. What do we have going on here? So this one. Yeah, pretty light on volume. It is down 10% this morning. It looks like something definitely has happened over the last couple of days. What I don't like though is look at the movements on this. This candle on this day here with almost no volume had a huge move here. Yesterday had more volume, 9 million shares traded. But again, guys, this is, you want to be cautious with this. When the stock can move like this almost with no volume, that's scary, right? So that you want to be extra cautious with this. It looks like a stock that again doesn't trail out of volume, and if you get caught in the wrong side, somebody can drop a decent size order and get you in a very tough position. So just be aware of this. I would try to avoid stocks like this. Yes, the numbers look great, right? Numbers look good, down 10%, but once you start looking at the actual details on here, you might not want to be involved in this type of stock. All right, guys, that is what we have. Again, just as a recap, we have INTC, guys. This looks great. Good pre-market activity. Remember, this thing put in some good news today. Yes, it sold off a bit here from hitting 54.60 down towards the area of some resistance. That was prior resistance, could become now support. So be aware of that. But here is still just going sideways a bit here, not doing much. It's got a little bit of volume, 300,000 shares traded, down 8.2. So we'll see at the open how this one reacts. PCG is putting in a great bounce. Was able to get back to VWAP, kind of stalling here on the $6 mark. Let's see if we can get higher. But again, it's going to be hard to get shares for short. Already on short selling restriction. Spread is nice. Volume is amazing. So we'll see what we can get out of PCG. ARCE, this one is possible for me. I'm probably going to remove it as we get closer to 930. It is a foreign stock. And doesn't have a great daily chart. And the pre-market activity looked like it was going to get better around this time here when volume was increasing, but then volume started to die out and not really giving us a nice little flow, right? I want to see that nice flow being formed in the pre-market. AMD, I'd like for a possible long, guys. Towards the bottom, we have a lot of crap down here, a lot of levels, but if it can break out of this 32.21, it can be nice and can possibly get into a nice trend trade. Remember, AMD and AMU, when they're not in play, they tend to be choppy that first hour, hour and a half. Later in the day, they sometimes can get into this beautiful trend trade. This is why I would like to watch this AMD and MU when we don't have quite a bit of stuff to watch. AMD and MU could be a good ones because, again, they're going to get the volume, and if the market can help it a little bit, they can get into a beautiful trend trade. So it's good to watch. Keep an eye on them. Twitter, guys, very active. Already 597,000 shares traded. It is on short selling restrictions, but we do have shares for short on this. Again, pre-market activity is building up nicely. We get a beautiful continuation day, a possible bounce. Hopefully, it just doesn't chop around, and it gives us an opportunity to take either long or short. And NVIDIA, same thing as AMD today. I'm looking for this one for possibly to break out and become a beautiful long. So we'll see what that does. Right now, volume is pretty light, only up 1.5. So we'll see at the open what we can get out of that. Roku is starting to pick up on volume, down 1.8, 83,000 shares traded already. So we'll see how this pre-market activity develops as we get closer to the open. Right now, not showing anything great. But again, Roku has been so fun to trade over the last couple of days. It's given us a lot of great opportunities. If you look at this intraday, you can see how beautiful it has been trading. The issue, as I mentioned with Roku, is you got to give it a lot of room because some of these pullbacks tend to be, quite bigger than regular normal stocks. So if you're taking it for a opening range breakup, opening range breakdown, ABCD patterns, just give yourself enough room. Take less shares so you're not stopped out. I know a lot of traders get stopped out constantly on Roku, and then the move starts happening in their direction. So again, just be aware of that. Give it enough room, and the way you do that is not by just setting a higher risk. You take the same amount of risk and just give it enough room on your stop. All right, guys, that is what we have. Thank you for joining us at the pre-market show, guys. Take care. It is Friday. Trade safe. And remember, you want to be disciplined today and go into the weekend knowing that you follow your rules and that you're not feeling a certain way or emotional because you were not able to have a great trading day and be disciplined. So keep that in mind. And again, remember, the markets does come back on Monday, and we have another 5 days to trade again, and the same thing week after that. So today's not the last day for you to make back your losses or finish the week, come back from a bad day yesterday or bad day throughout the week. Keep that in mind. The market will be back on Monday. Take care, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Safe trading today, and hopefully you'll have a fantastic end to what hopefully was a good week. Take care.